Nityanand Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Canto 6 of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on chapter 17. Does anyone recall anything about yesterday? What we heard yesterday? No? Okay, so maybe I'll just... Yes, Neha.
There was just that Chitraketu Maharaj was, what we read was that he was, वो घूम रहे थे अंतरिक्ष में यात्रा कर रहे थे और उन्होंने शिव जी और उनके और भी दूसरे जो लोग थे उनको सभा में देखा और उन्होंने देखा कि शिव जी पार्वती जी शिव जी की गोदी में बैठे हैं, तो उन्होंने उनके निकट जाके वो हंसे. तो he just laughed and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains about this that भगवान उन्हें जल्दी वैकुंठ में वापस बुलाना चाहते थे. So all of this was an arrangement for that. और उसके बाद में हमने ये भी देखा कि जो लॉर्ड वहां पे बहुत सारे लोग थे, तो पार्वती जी बहुत गुस्सा हो गई. उनको लगा कि इतने सारे लोग सभा में हैं एंड क्या सिर्फ चित्रकेतु ही बहुत समझदार है क्या कि ये इस तरह बोल रहे हैं. बट इसके पीछे बहुत सारे रीजंस थे और उसमें से एक रीजन था कि प्रभुपाद एक्सप्लेन करते हैं दैट विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर ने कहा कि वी नॉर्मल पर्सन वी कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई ही ऑफेंडेड शिवा, बट इन personally we entered it's Krishna's desire that he got cursed and he come back quickly. So one was that, and then the other was ki the normal people follow what the great people do. So Chitraketu Maharaj did not wanted that, other people would offend Shiva and laugh at him or something, because he knew his position. उनको शिव जी की पोजीशन पता थी that how great he is और वो कितने बड़े योगी हैं, उनकी क्या महानता है. लेकिन वो ये चाहते थे कि लोग उनके ऊपर हंसे नहीं और उनकी ऑफेंड ना हो, और उनको क्योंकि वो बहुत ग्रेट हैं इसलिए. एंड देन ऑल्सो प्रभुपाद सेज दैट सन जो है इट कैन नॉट बिकम इम्प्योर because it is touched by the urine. So it is not logic, although that sun purifies. So sometimes we do not understand what the great personalities does. And usi tarah Chitraketu should not have criticized. Though he had no envy and unke koi envy bhi nahi tha. His intentions were not bad. So even those people who were all there sitting in the sabha, they did not leave or they did not say anything, because even Shivji just smiled. He did not say anything. So because they all knew that what was his intentions. उनके intentions दक्ष महाराज के जैसे खराब नहीं थे. दक्ष महाराज offended, he insulted Shivji, but Chitraketu ji's intentions were not that bad. But Pārvatī ji got really, and like a devotee he should be very very humble. He should be Trinadapi Sunichena. So a Vaishnav should be always humble than a blade of a grass. And in that state, one can constantly chant holy name of Krishna and we can be his devotee. And then, but Pārvatī ji बहुत irritate हो गए. उनको बहुत गुस्सा आया कि you are just a new devotee. You know better than all these other devotees. वो ब्रह्मा जी हैं यहाँ पे और शिव जी हैं और भी बड़े बड़े सब बैठे थे सभा में. And they say you are very smart, you know more than that. But then she is also a mother. She also wanted that Chitraketu. She was just orchestrating that Chitraketu Maharaj and Chitraketu Maharaj jaldi se wahan pe jaएं. So like how we mentioned that it was a curse it was a boon in a disguise. This curse was a boon in a disguise. And Ma Durga, we have seen that she gets angry and she punishes the person who's criticizing Vaishnavs. So because he was criticized, and we know that Shivji is one of the biggest Vaishnav, तो वो उसलिए गुस्सा हुई और उन्होंने इस तरह से करा. And then Chitraketu Maharaj was being just an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Yeah, so we saw.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. That's what the three reasons we read, right? That one, Krishna wanted him to come back soon. Second, he'd had no bad intention. He had no envy. He was just thinking that the other common people might offend Lord Shiva. And third was that he probably had some kind of a pride in it, which Parvati Devi detected. And so that's why, being a mother, she also gave him a curse, which is good for him. Thank you so much. Okay, so Shri Shuka Vacha Evam Shabdas Chitraketur
Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Shabdah Chitraketu
Vimanad Avaruhyasa
Vimanat Avarudasah
Prasadayam Asa Satim
Prasadayam Asa Satim
Murthna Namrena Bharata.
Murdhana Namrena Bharata.
Ratna, are you able to hear me today? Yesterday you mentioned you were not able to hear me. I don't know if she can hear me. Neha, you're able to hear me all right, no?
Yes, yes, I'm able to hear you all right.
Okay. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear King Parikshit, when Chitraketu was cursed by Pārvatī, he descended from his airplane, bowed down before her with great humility, and pleased her completely. So he's not getting upset that, hey, why did you curse me? Chitraketu Ruvacha
Chitraketu Ruvacha
Patigranami Te Shapam
Pratigranami Te Shapam
Atmano Anja Linambike
Atmano Anjalina Ambike
Dever Martyaya Yat Proktam
Devai Martyaya Yat Proktam
Purvadishtam Hitasya Tat.
Purvadishtam Hitasya Tat.
Chitraketu said,
Prabhu, just one question, because you read that, so he did not get down his plane.
he got down.
No,
got
now
down.
he got down.
Ah, you mean before he was still in his
Yeah,
plane?
yeah. So
Yeah,
all
looks
that
like that.
was happening in his plane, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
his
Yeah.
private jet.
Yeah.
Okay. Chitraketu said, My dear mother, with my own hands folded together, I accept the curse upon me. I do not mind the curse, for happiness and distress are given by the demigods as a result of one's past deeds. Since Kshetraketu was a devotee of the Lord, he was not at all disturbed by the curse of Mother Parvati. He knew very well that one suffers or enjoys the results of one's past deeds as ordained by Deva Netra, superior authority, or the agents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because, see, the laws of karma are there, but then Krishna appoints the different demigods to be able to give our karma, right? Different agents are there. They are they are in managerial positions in the universe. He knew that he had not committed any offense at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva or the goddess Parvati, yet he had been punished, and this means that the punishment had been ordained because he knew his heart was clean. So he's saying that, well, it's due to the past, whatever past karma I have done. Thus the king did not mind it. A devotee is naturally so humble and meek that he accepts any condition of life as a blessing from the Lord. Tatenu kampam susamikshamana. Bhagavatam 10:14-8. So he's practically showing us how to be tatenu kampam. Bhagavatam is saying we should be tatenu kampam. Tolerant. If suffering comes, being tolerant, understanding it's due to our past misdeeds, at the same time continuing to worship the Lord. So he's practically showing us how to do it. A devotee always accepts punishment from anyone as the mercy of the Lord. So he's not getting back to her, hey, what do you do there? How come it's not me? It was not my intention. What is happening? We might have so many different reactions, no? In such a situation. So he is not having any of these reactions. He's simply accepting the will of the Lord. So if one lives in this conception of life, he sees whatever reverses occur to be due to his past misdeeds, and therefore he never accuses anyone. So very important points. Accept the devotee is tolerant, is tolerating, understanding it's his past misdeeds, and he reverses. He's tolerating and he's not accusing, he's not holding anyone else responsible. He understands that, okay, it's due to my past, something what I have done is because of that. And he sees it as a mercy of Krishna that, oh, I would have suffered more, but Krishna is just giving me a token punishment. On the contrary, he becomes increasingly attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of his being purified by his suffering. Suffering, therefore, is also a process of purification. We may take deeper shelter of the Lord when some suffering comes, right? Like Krishna says, 4 types of people come to him. One type are those who are in distress. So when there is a distress, then devotee naturally takes deeper shelter of Krishna. There's a bigger earthquake or something, so one may really chant with more feeling. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this connection that one who has developed Krishna consciousness and who exists in love with Krishna is no longer subject to suffering and happiness under the laws of karma. Indeed, he is beyond karma. The Brahma Samhita says, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. A devotee is free from the reactions of his karma because he has taken to devotional service. So one may say that, oh, he's pure devotee, then how come it's due to his past misdeed? But pure devotee has no karma. His karma is already burnt up. Even Haridas Thakur says that, right? Namabhas itself gives liberation, means all the karma is burnt up. What to say of one who is chanting the glories in love? So this same principle is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Sagunan samatiyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in devotional service has already been freed from the reactions of his material karma, and thus he immediately becomes Brahmabhuta or transcendental. This is also expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:21, Shiyante chasya karmani. Before attaining the stage of love, one becomes free from all the results of his karma. Because we say, right, that pure devotional service begins from the liberated platform. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Then Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So pure devotional service begins from liberation. Liberation means what? Means he's already free from all his karma. No more karma. So how his karma went away? Just by his engaging in devotional service. The Lord is very kind and affectionate toward his devotees, and therefore a devotee in any condition is not subjected to the results of karma. A devotee never aspires for the heavenly planets. The heavenly planets, liberation and hell are non-different for a devotee. He does not discriminate between different positions in the material world. So a devotee, he's not doing devotional service, a pure devotee. He's not doing devotional service because he wants to go to heavenly planets or he wants to enter the Brahman. No, he's just engaging in devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna. A devotee is always eager to return home back to Godhead and remain there as the Lord's associate. This ambition becomes increasingly fervent in his heart, and therefore he does not care about material changes in his life. So Prabhupada is explaining the devotee, he's tolerant, he's not bothered about the external, whatever is happening externally, whether he's in hell, whether he's in heaven, he's in demigod body or demon body. He's just continuing to engage in devotional service. And his desire is he wants to go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Maharaj Chitraketu's being cursed by Pārvatī should be considered the mercy of the Lord. The Lord wanted Chitraketu to return to Godhead as soon as possible, and therefore he terminated all the reactions of his past misdeeds, past deeds. Acting through the heart of Pārvatī, the Lord who is situated in everyone's heart, cursed Chitraketu in order to end all his material reactions. Thus, Chitraketu became Vritrasur in his next life and returned home back to Godhead. So Krishna personally takes charge of the devotee. For a devotee, it's not the laws of karma. It's Krishna personally. He makes the arrangements personally so that the devotee can come back quickly to him, as we are seeing in this case. So, is that okay?
Yes.
Samsara chakra etasmin
संसारचक्रे एतस्मिन्
jantur ajnana mohita
जन्तु अज्ञानमोहितः
brahmyan sukham cha dukkham cha
भ्राम्यन् सुखं च दुःखं च
bhunte sarvatra sarvada.
भुङ्क्ते सर्वत्र सर्वदा.
Deluded by ignorance, the living entity wanders in the forest of this material world, enjoying the happiness and distress resulting from his past deeds, everywhere and at all times. Therefore, my dear mother, neither you nor I am to be blamed for this incident. So this is, we can see how a devotee acts. So if it's us, we may say, hey, how could you do that? How come you're cursing me? I'm a devotee of the Lord. Here he's saying we are simply instruments in the hands of the Lord. So as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 3:27, Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by nature. Actually, a conditioned soul is completely under the control of material nature, wandering here and there, always and everywhere. He is subjected to the results of his past deeds. This is carried out by the laws of nature, but one foolishly thinks himself the doer, which in fact he is not. So it's because of false ego we think, I'm doing, but it's actually the modes that are making us act. They make us act in a particular way, goodness, passion, and ignorance, because we are bound by the modes. Actually, we are the soul. We are not the body. We are the soul. But now we are bound by the modes. The modes have different qualities, right? And then, based on how we are influenced by the modes, we are acting. And then we think, oh, it's me, it's me. And that's the false ego. So this is carried out by the laws of nature, but one foolishly thinks himself the doer, which in fact he is not. To get free from the karma chakra, the wheel of the results of one's karma, one should take to bhakti marg, devotional service, or Krishna consciousness. That is the only remedy. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam braja. So we are wandering, each and every one of us is wandering in different planets, different universes in this material world. And if one at all wants to get out of this cycle, then the only way to get out of it is devotional service, bhakti. There is no other way. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Gatir Anyatha. If one really wants liberation, one really wants to understand I am spirit soul, I'm not this body, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, one has to take to bhakti. Questions, comments? So we can learn also how Chitraketu is accepting the reversal. We may get angry, we may accuse, we may deny. He's just tolerating. He's not having any reaction. We may have so many reactions coming to us, whereas he's just accepting.
So very high level, right? Very high position,
Yes.
Chitraketu Maharaja.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
this is a very,
very high.
very high position.
Yeah, that's right. He is very high position. Hmm. Naivatma na paraschapi
नैवात्मा न परश्चापि
karta syat sukha dukkhayo
कर्ता स्यात् सुखदुःखयोः
kartaram manyate tragya
कर्तारं मन्यते अत्राज्ञ
atmanam param eva cha.
आत्मानं परमेव च.
In this material world, neither the living entity himself nor others, friends and enemies, are the cause of material happiness and distress. But because of gross ignorance, the living entity thinks that he and others are the cause. Usually we say, oh, when we are happy, when we get something good, we say it's for because of me. Something bad happens, it's we blame to others, right? Or because of him or her, this thing is happening. If we are getting something good, because of me, how great I am. But actually, what is the truth? Here Chitraketu is telling us. It's all ignorance that we are thinking all this is. Everything is happening under the will of the Supreme Lord. And the facility, the agency is this material nature. In this verse, the word agya is very significant. In the material world, all living entities are agya, ignorant, in different degrees. So we can see our ignorance is also in different degrees. So we may know a little more than another, but we may make us think, oh, I'm so great, I know. But also still in ignorance, right?
My God.
So, because it's happening in so many levels, we may be less ignorant than someone else and make feel proud, but then still in ignorance. So what's the pride about? And then there may be others who are so much more purified than oneself. So this
Mm.
ignorance continues very strongly in the mode of ignorance presented by material nature. One must therefore promote himself to the stage of goodness through his character and behavior, and then gradually come to the transcendental platform or adokshaja platform, in which he realizes both his position and the position of others. So Prabhupada is saying, now this mode of ignorance is there, then one cannot immediately come to the transcendental platform. So what to do? Gradually come at least to mode of goodness. Mode of good. Come there, then it's easier to transcend to transcendental platform. Easier. Of course, one may be in ignorance and may immediately come, but how many?
Mm.
So the process is come to goodness and then gradually transcend. And then what happens? Realizes both his position and position of others, because then transcendental means understanding, hey, I'm not the body. All these other entities also not the body. We are all spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. all have eternal loving relationship of Krishna with Krishna. So everything is done under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The process by which the results of action are ordained is called niyatam, always working. So all this material nature we heard earlier in the creation part, how it's Krishna who's the creator, maintainer, destroyer. Everything is happening under his will. And he says, Mayadhyakshena Prakriti, he says in Bhagavad Gita. So it's the Supreme Lord. Then one may say, oh, well, I'm suffering because of the Lord. What do you say about that?
No, we are
Why?
suffering because Krishna is just he just facilitate, he just gives. We are suffering of our own deeds, of our past deeds, what
Yeah,
we did.
because based on our desires, we are acting
Mm.
on our desire. So that is what is creating the suffering. The judge is not responsible if he is putting somebody in jail. It's because somebody did a bad deed, so the judge has to put him in jail, for his own betterment, for his own correction. Yes, thank you. Guna pravaha etasmin
गुणप्रभावः एतस्मिन्
ka shapa ko anugraha
कशापाको अनुग्रहः
ka svargo naraka ko va
कस्वर्गो नरको को वा
kim sukham dukkham eva va.
किं सुखं दुःखमेव वा.
This material world resembles the waves of a constantly flowing river. Therefore, what is a curse and what is a favor? What are the heavenly planets and what are the hellish planets? What is actually happiness and what is actually distress? Because the waves flow constantly, none of them has an eternal effect. We get so caught up in the moment, right? We
So
get
this
so caught up.
Chitraketu Maharaj is saying all this again, right?
Yeah, Chitraketu, yes, yes. He's
Yeah,
folded his hands
Chitraketu.
in front of Pārvatī and he's speaking
Yeah,
all this.
yeah, okay.
So he's understands this. Every situation is temporary. We get so caught up in the moment. We get so caught up into that situation. But he's saying it's all temporary. As the waves are flowing in the river, they keep flowing, they keep flowing. Our happiness, distress, we are sometimes in heavenly planets, sometimes in hellish planets. It's all happening. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Miche Mayara Vashe, Yacha Beshe Kacha Ha Budubu Bhai. My dear living entities within this material world, why are you being carried away by the waves of the modes of material nature? Jiva Krishna Das, E Vishwas, Karleta Ara Dukhanai. If the living entity tries to understand that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, there will no longer be misery for him. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, why you're getting so caught up in the situation, in this suffering, sometimes happy, sometimes suffering, why you're getting so involved in it? Just understand that you are an eternal servant of Krishna. And once we are able to understand that, there's no misery. Krishna wants us to give up all other engagements and surrender unto him. So, which is this verse? Krishna wants us to give up all other engagements and surrender unto him. What does Krishna say and where?
Is it in the Bhagavad Gita?
That's right. Which
Sarva
one?
dharma parityaja mam.
That's right.
No, right? Is it the
Yes,
same?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that's right. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So that is what Krishna is saying. It's his instruction in Bhagavad Gita. His last instruction, what he's saying. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. And if we do so, Prabhupada is saying, where will the cause and effect of this material world be? There is nothing like cause and effect for the surrendered soul. Just as we heard, right? There's no karma for the pure devotee. So one who is completely surrendered, there's no karma. It's Krishna personally taking care of him. One is like putting the child in the care of a strict warden or a strict nanny. And one is that the mother is personally taking care of the child. So one is like giving orders to the nanny. If the child does this, you do this. If the child does that, you do this. And then other one is the mother is personally there for the kid.
Wow, such a beautiful example you have given to remember.
So then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this regard that being put into this material world is like being thrown into a mine of salt. If one falls into a mine of salt, he tastes only salt wherever he goes. Similarly, this material world is full of miseries. The so-called temporary happiness of the world is also a misery, but in ignorance, we cannot understand this. So, Dukhalayam, right? Lord Krishna is saying it's Dukhalayam, but we may say where it's not Dukhalayam. I'm happy, I'm enjoying. Sure, there is distress, but there are so many times I'm happy, I'm enjoying. I have so many enjoyable things, and I can enjoy further. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying you go to a salt mine, you'll just only taste salt. You're not going to taste anywhere else. But then we are saying, well, but we are enjoying here. Then how do we explain? That's our ignorance. We are not able to understand. Are we actually suffering or are we actually enjoying? So, example to give in this is the camel. He eats the thorn. He's eating the thorn. The thorn is cutting his tongue. Is cutting his tongue and he's bleeding. And now the thorns have gotten mixed up with his blood and he's eating it and he's saying, oh, so nice, tastes so nice, without realizing it's his blood and he's hurting himself. So that is us. We are saying we are enjoying, but the acharyas are saying that is ignorance. That is the actual position the acharyas are saying. When one comes to his senses, when he becomes Krishna conscious, he is no longer concerned with the various conditions of this material world. He is not concerned with happiness or distress, curses or favors, or heavenly or hellish planets. He sees no distinction between them. So because he's completely understood he's not the body, he's the soul, he has a relationship with Krishna, he's in that relationship, he's happy in that relationship, he's enjoying in that relationship. So he's not concerned with the body. Of course, he's within the body, so he's going to take care of it, he's going to maintain it. He won't be irresponsible about it. But in the sense, happiness, distress, honor, dishonor, he understands it's just for the body. It's like temporary and fleeting, whereas he's already steady in his relationship with Krishna. Is that okay?
Yes. So you're trying to say that nothing bothers, right?
Yeah. Nothing bothers at the perfected stage. And so then what Krishna is saying, okay, we are not perfect right now, right? But what Krishna is saying, you still tolerate. He says, no, this, which is at 214, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agma Paino Nityam, Tam Stitikshasva Bharata. Right? He's saying you tolerate happiness will come, distress will come. Krishna understands we are not perfect, so we are not able to realize it. But he's saying, at least still do it. I'm telling you, just tolerate it. But what we do, we don't want to follow what Krishna says. And we get so attached into the moment. We're so attached into the moment. But Krishna is saying, just listen to me. You just tolerate, It's going to come, it's going to go. Doesn't mean that we become callous or we don't have any, appropriate emotions that is required in a situation. Doesn't mean that. But he means to say, don't get so affected by it, like,
Like how sometimes we give up when in a situation we just give up and we do some wrong things which shouldn't be, or the way we react, we scream, we get angry, shout. So those should be controlled,
That's right.
right? We
Yes.
can
Yes.
chant at that time and take his shelter. And
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
Mm.
Thank you.
Because,
Yeah.
like how last to last class, Deepika mentioned that because we are here, right? She said in a different way, but what I think is that we are very blessed that we are here, because we are not put in those situations. The situations that we are put in here are very liberal and not that intense. Because
True.
those situations when we are put in India, those are really intense situations, and you are at the urge of losing a relationship.
Yeah.
But here, you're not put in those situations here. So I feel that rather than facing them, because I don't know how I'm going to face them, I'm very fortunate that Krishna has put me here so that I can learn and I can be in a like he's put me in a favorable situation. So I should be thankful. Thank you, Krishna.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I don't
right.
know that how I would have done. Maybe
Yeah.
I can't handle. That's why I'm not ready and I'm not put there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's a good way to see. Seeing that Krishna's taking care, he's understand what's good for you, where
Hmm.
you can continue more nicely with your devotional service.
Yes. Because it's very intense. The situations there are very, very intense, Shilpanji. I mean, everything is very nice. Everybody is very nice. But then it is no one's fault because they are also under modes of nature as we are. So the
Right.
situations arise out of nowhere and then you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, it's
And you
true.
end up and you end up messing it up.
Yeah,
So
I know. Right?
So, like how Krishna is saying, tolerate, just tolerate. Like how we even cook in summer heat. So, tolerate. I
Yeah.
don't say I'm not going to cook for these 3 months in 50-degree. Everybody don't eat. So, yeah, we have to tolerate. You're right. We have to tolerate.
Yeah. So this is what. So it's nice, huh? What Chitraketu here is saying, something
Yeah.
that we really need to apply in our life,
Yeah.
because we keep forgetting.
Mm.
So it's really nice. And Krishna is saying the same thing. Now Chitraketu is saying the same thing. So
But when Chitraketu ji is saying, it feels that, we can do it.
yeah,
Right?
because
Because
okay, now why you think?
he's also a devotee, right? He's living his normal life. He's going through the situations.
Exactly,
So
you said the word. He's going through the situation. So we feel, oh, he's also going through a
yes.
situation, and this is his reaction or his
Mm,
response. So even
mm.
when I'm going through a situation, I should try to act in
Yes.
this way. So then now we can see, that how the devotees are teaching us
Mm,
by by their example.
yes.
Right? That's why Krishna keeps sending his devotees so that we can understand. He himself came as a devotee also to teach
Mm,
us. Okay, you chant, I'm chanting, you chant. Very nice. Yes, it's
mm,
true. Even I was feeling that Chitraketu, he's going through the situation and he
mm.
can be so like, there's no reaction on his part. He's just accepting it. I mean, no
Like very
reaction in the sense there's no
yeah,
uh
no argument,
like
nothing, right?
yeah, no anger, no
Yes.
accusing, no, you know, all those the unnecessary things that we
Yeah,
put ourselves into.
like he just in the very first sentence he said, "I'm sorry, Mata. This is all because like he nothing else,
Hmm.
right? No anger, even for a minute. That how come you're making me a demon? I have done so
Yeah,
much. It could
exactly.
come.
I've done so much. How
Yeah,
could
I've
you?
done so much. How could you? Who are you? Like it comes that मैंने तो इतना करा है, इतना
Hmm.
बड़ा भक्त हूँ मैं और मेरे को ये सब हो रहा है. एक बार if this comes to your heart that I have done so much for you, Krishna, And this is what you're giving me, but nothing, no word at all, not a single thing.
I know, right?
My God,
Pray
all
to
of this.
Chitraketu. We should pray really to Chitraketu to help us
All of this.
also
Yes.
be like this in any kind of situation, And that's what I feel like to do.
Like very, very, very beautiful at Nirjala. Like, whole day we can meditate on this.
Yeah, nice.
On this
Yes.
particular part, we can just keep going in our head that, oh, Chitraketu Maharaj, like, oh, Krishna, your devotees are so wonderful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, yes. Yes.
And we
That's
could
so
be that
true.
tolerant. It is such a
Yeah.
beautiful part, like you to even when you're chanting or you're doing your work, you can think about him.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll stop here today. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you all for listening and joining, and Hare